I am Rafa Benitez. You are watching the Redmen TV.
Jack, bit of a mental game, mate. What we thought of it?
Barmy match. Ultimately, I think on some level, I think despite the stress and everything we've been through watching that match, that was kind of what we all watched the football for, really, wasn't it? You know, nice to be celebrating and, you know, all of us in the room, you know, for the same team, and it was just exciting to see, just seeing the goals go in when, you know, each time you didn't expect them to come. You know, we 3-1 down, and to have taken it to 4-3 was incredible. But I think we were all on the floor really at 4-4, but followed through and got the fifth. Fantastic.
What did you think of some of Jurgen Klopp's decision making during the game? I know it's a tough question.
Yeah, I think it's a game where it's really difficult to microanalyse it, really. I mean, I can only think that being down there on the bench was even more difficult than watching it from here, you know. So trying to second guess the decisions that are being made, I think it probably goes out the window a little bit for this type of game. We were laughing with, I think when it was 4-3, about the prospect of Kolka coming on. When's he going to come on? And we were saying, oh, it'll be just after Norwich equalise, and pretty much worked out that way. But it was also shown to be quite effective there towards the end as well. Probably not the kind of strategy we're going to take forward. The result and the win itself, it's probably not the kind of performance or a result that is a foundation for anything. But as just the pure enjoyment of football goes, it doesn't get much better than that, really. It's I think you mentioned it earlier off camera. It takes us back to the thought of the QPR game away last season, which was equally stressful and thrilling in equal measure. You know, but it's what we go to the ground for, and it's what we watch the game for, you know, from afar as well. So fantastic.
So if I had to put you on the spot and say pick a Liverpool man of the match, who would it be?
I actually think, I think Firmino's the obvious choice. His first finish was really good with a little help from a touch from the keeper and then a neat little bobble. But the second goal was fantastic. I think to pick somebody a little bit more, pick somebody who had a bit more of an understated performance, it would be Lucas again. I think he picked it up where he'd been, in a similar vein to where he'd been performing last week against United. I thought he put in a really good performance, and he seems to enjoy sharing the responsibility a little bit more than... I've always looked at him and thought he's a player who actually prefers to know exactly what he's doing. I've never liked him in a pair when he's played with Gerrard in the past, and not looked quite sure whether he's supposed to go for this ball or that one. I've always thought on his own he looks much better, but actually he looks better when the responsibility is shared and he gets the opportunity to get on the ball a bit more as well. So I think he's shown since Klopp's come in there's a lot more to his game than I think a lot of us had imagined he'd settled back to. He obviously had his best season or so around 2010, 2011, and we thought that the injuries had knocked that player out of him, but I think he's got a lot to his game. And he's shown us that again in the last few weeks. So I think, quietly, I think he was one of the players who didn't have a, you know, as Klopp would say, he didn't have a heavy metal game, but he was very efficient in the middle there. And one of the players, I think, strangely, I think one of the few players who had a good game on there. I think you'd be hard pushed to say many players had a particularly good performance in there, but there were lots of effective moments, which helps.
And finally, sum that game up in one sentence. What a word.
Barmy. First word I used. You know, it's what we watch football for, isn't it? That kind of game.